Well, guys, we had to flip around from morning shift to night shift, so everybody should say, "Why aren't you out hunting on opening day?" I'm like, it is absolutely, shall we just say, ridiculous. I'm tired. Everybody's gone out there and English gentlemanly hunted that could descend from any form of World War One criminal to Roman war criminal, and proceeded to shoot any and everything, drag it off without any form of regard to wildlife. And as it is, they'll just be like, "You're the one the judge said couldn't inform on anything." Well, this is better for the United States. Every single person knows that you die in 6 weeks in the field if you ate anything out there, and they'll just put you with the security group that's made from them and get rid of you that way. Because you can't eat McDonald's or anything else like that, and it'll take you almost 6 to 9 months just to detox from it all. I mean, there's no way you're going to get away from the plastics or anything else. And they go, "We can't make that." And it's like Italy makes their plastic bottles with nothing in them. And it's just a constant roving conspiracy going back and forth. And I mean, they've been talking about the. Excuse me. I did get to sleep outside last night. It was absolutely wonderful. Sinuses are better than anything. Didn't have to listen to the constant stuff reverberating inside the house and everything. But so many people have just been taking everything in the world out there lately. And everybody from, political family members of former running presidential candidates and everything else, by their own association, conversations, and everything else. And they just go, "We're not going to count them even as close as they are because they can hide anything like that and have a hiding lawsuit that's done by certain people that are specialized lawyers that come in from Africa in the area where the girls were taken to." It's one of the reasons why Michelle Obama would not pursue that anymore, because she's like, "Oh shit, my lawyers won't stay with me." The real good ones, not the ones they put on television. They just say stuff. Anyway, they're like, "Don't send anything in over how I've lost like 90 stories or something like that over Native American stuff, since it is such a huge thing here with people killing and replacing Native Americans, sex trade, and everything else internationally to former war criminal countries and everything else, even over to China or any place that has a Cold War situation." And then all you have to do to test, excuse me, test any of it is go this one certain type of DNA test that I've supposedly been in a lifetime long study over. Don't care over it anymore and everything, because they collect my DNA every time I go to someplace, and it's just to try and see if you actually have the ability to be GMO'd, and it's like 22% of your DNA can be supposedly slightly GMO'd or changed permanently in a permanent altered state, like always being at a tanning bed once a week, which is just the alleles changed to make new types of skin cells, other stuff, and everything. So you can fake a DNA test with that much and everything else off of it, from the exoskeletal chemicals, bleaching sugar, being out there in the sun, other certain things like eating vegetable crops and other stuff like that. For all the others, supposedly, we just found out there's Native Americans always living here, or 6 or 7 that were there in the middle of, I don't know, suburbia, Carolina. But whatever. Again, I digress completely from whatever it is, because even on Fox News, they're saying on the tip of everybody's tongue, and the first words that's ever going to be said is the great Joe Manchin. And that's what everybody knows here that knows anything about the Ohio River Valley and anything that goes with certain things out there. It's like people want to say stuff about old man Kennedy, John Fitzgerald's I don't care, grandfather, worked with Capone and everybody else, and had a lot of dead ballots supposedly vote from cemeteries in Chicago and the local area. I'm just going to tell you right now, straight up. Um, I seriously think both candidates are trying to lose the election, as they know so much is just coming up, and so many people are starting to find out and dig deeper into them. And the simple fact is that um, basically with this group of lawyers, and I don't care. People gonna get so ticked at me anyway. And I've had them run around here, and it's like, if they come and investigate this crazy thing here, I'll take them to every single place out there and say exactly where everything was. And I know that they have it on a military situation, and that they've been basically in a very extremely almost a war, but it's such a small country with Liechtenstein and those over there that took whatever it is. And Switzerland incorporated Tirano just so that they'd have to send all of it over to Rome, Vatican City, because we really don't have anything where we share information with them, even the EU. And it's just absolutely ridiculous here with the espionage stuff that comes out of Oak Ridge. But here, deal with this. Donald Trump convinced those really big lawyers they didn't really care, because it's like, so you were killing off the slaves we sold and everything else. That he was really a Confederate that had never taken the re-oath of patriotization. So, in that, who really cares? He was basically a Vatican operative sent over here to weaken the United States because the demilitarized zone went down, and he was a French operative for the war underneath one of the lineages of his family. So there you have that. So nothing is really wrong there other than he was a foreign national military enemy combatant over here for military advisorship, which probably was taken away by Clinton for anything out there in 93 when he said certain members of the Third Estate could immigrate here. Anybody who was here before then is still considered illegal, which was one of the main people who wrote all the segregations and reasons for why the Third Reich took people in the little runaround thing in Schindler's List. It's like, who made the decisions for the doctors to go out there and do? Because we got some of them that are here and they just pop up and they have different IDs or whatever it is, and they, it's like the only people they can arrest, the Third Estate, unless they have like super work immunity stuff. And it's like, it's still not a USA citizen, but you can say it to pretty much anybody. And Big JM, I mean, it's been mentioned 12 years ago on CNN. Big JM, Big Joe Manchin. Big Joe Manchin's coming in, and it's like, you'll even see him like walk over and like the little, like my hand here. You don't say that. And like I said, it's the showdown of the presidential mobsters and everything. I really hate saying this on the main channel because this should be just something else better, but he was basically the backside of West Virginia going west and everything. They'll say that there was nothing there for it. The lineages are all like pick and choose, but he has everything, if he needs it legally exposed for it, all set up. And he ran one of the biggest death camps, up north. All the French liaison officers basically got put into a death camp in the South. You can be like, he was killing Confederates and everything else. He even drops, we don't care about the facts. I mean, he has dropped that so many fucking times out there. It is disgusting and deplorable. And, I'm seriously, old man Kennedy's not even a 4-block coke dealer. He's a little kid that stands over there and pissed his pants into a fucking telephone booth and everything else compared to these guys. And I mean that with as much insult as I can and everything else, because they need to know where they're put at. Anyway, I would go over a whole bunch of other shit, and they can say whatever, but there is one every, just out of sight there's another little camp, whatever it is, and everything else. And he used black people very much. He used black people very, very much. Now, it'd be like, if there is such a thing out there as the last American whatever, and they always go on, the 15% is always just so easy to get rid of. Donald Trump got 15% of the black vote because they know what happens at the death camps in Ohio in the 1860s. Now, You can, whatever, I don't really care. Please send someone that's not the usual Secret Service. Hopefully, a grad student working on their bullshit. And you all can listen to Total Fantasy, even though I know I've got 3 people from the quote Nazi military unit, and most of them all fled over there. And the only thing is about Big Joe Mansion, you got a mansion made for you in the sky, and it's all going to be good for you. Don't worry about that. I'm Jesus' carpenter. It's what he gave me whenever he went up to heaven and took over. And I will say that I do have a lot of his stuff. He was very active in Ethiopia with any family or anybody else and associates and everything else. And, I don't really care. They've all been in front of me, whether they've been black, white, mixed, whatever you want to call it. And it's never shut up for 40 damn years. And it was like, the federal government's very well aware of this. Maybe it's just the ultimate way of harvesting them and saying that the people really truly do have control over it and harnessing the power that is them. But, the big thing about him was, even though he was put in and he's like, I'm the inside man, the sixth man, and everything else that's put in there that didn't have to retreat and go to places of unknown wilderness around the world to wait for whatever it is for the up and coming. Anyway, people want proof. People want everything. The greatest thing in the world is just to look at somebody. Well, you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Because everyone's registered. Everyone knows where they're at. And they do too. And it's like, thank God for voter registration. That one wasn't on the news, but I want to know how close that was to some of those things before they could swing cameras over.